welcome Tatiana to the podcast. I'm
Thank you.
so excited to have you here. I love following you on social media and just listening to you, share your wisdom about all things holistic health. So I just couldn't wait to introduce you to my audience. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What a nice introduction. I appreciate that.
Well, so today's topic, we are going to be talking about cleansing and how beneficial it is for our health. I feel like, well, I know that you're a bit of a pro when it comes to cleansing. Every time I hear you talk, I just learn something new each time. So I really wanted to start from the beginning and talk about toxins.
Hmm.
And can you share with us a little bit about like toxins, where they're found and how they affect our overall health?
Of course. Yeah. So basically, when it comes to toxins, I mean, in today's world, you can pretty much find them anywhere, right? They're literally invisible to this point. So you have the toxins that are more direct, which are the ones that we ingest, like, the fake sugars, fake food, the pesticides in the foods that are nutritious, like fruits and vegetables. Um, and then there are the more outside toxins that people don't think about, which are, in the products that we use, like the plastics, and then the products that we put on our skin and on our body, like aluminum in our deodorant, or the phthalates and the fragrances or the xenoestrogens that are all mimicking the hormones in our body and like destroying the connections in our body. So these toxins are all over us. I mean, they're on our clothes too, they're in our furniture, they're, the more subtle ones are in our environment. Like I said, the more invisible ones are the ones like EMF radiation, or like that Bluetooth
Mm.
radiation, or any little thing that is so subtle and like beaming off of us that we don't see is a toxin. So basically, a toxin is just something that the body does not recognize or cannot use to benefit. And so these are all just things that are coming at us. And in today's world, again, it's from every angle. You cannot escape it. You drink water and there's toxins in your water. You breathe in the air and there's toxins in the air. So it's a very like it's in every little thing. So it's a very significant time to step back and consider the very toxins you're taking in on a daily basis and reconfigure how you can not just eliminate those. I mean, we'll never eliminate it completely, but
Yeah.
just minimize them so that we can eventually not have all of these effects in our body that they cause.
Yeah. I feel like before going on my healing journey, I never understood that level of toxins that
Mm.
are in our environment. And it wasn't until I started making those little changes, I started to notice more and feel better myself. Um,
Yes.
yeah, it's just
It's
crazy.
very subtle. Like, yeah, it's very subtle. The changes you can make are small,
Yeah.
they're not big, they're not extreme. Um, and the more you add on these habits of just simple changes, the less toxins you'll have.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%. Well, now that we know a little bit about toxins, I'd love to now talk about cleansing because obviously you would know this. Like we're cleansing out the toxins essentially that we're ingesting and in our environment. So let's go into cleansing. Um, I'd love to know like what is cleansing and why is it just so beneficial for our health?
Right. So for me, the way I see it is that cleansing is a lost art. So basically, it's something that generation after generation people were doing, and it was very common, very normal part of our everyday lives. And this was in the past when we weren't bombarded by toxins, right? When toxins weren't
Mm,
coming at us left and right. and people were already aware that the body needed a cleanse. And it's not so much like you hear a lot, especially nowadays, where, especially like doctors, and they say like, oh, but the body already cleanses for you, you don't need to worry
Mm,
about that. And that's absolutely true, right? Our liver does that, that's its job. Our kidneys filter, the spleen filters everything of our organs, is a cleansing tool. However, again, there's so many accumulated toxins through our lives, especially if we had a very toxic childhood, where you just ate very bad food, a lot of candy, a lot of artificial food, especially here in the United States. I don't know how bad it was where you're from in Australia, but here it's like
yeah.
the standard American diet, the SAD, is just the saddest thing you could possibly give a child, right? So those toxins accumulate, and they accumulate all over the body. So what a cleanse does is basically it's like a boost, it's a reset. That's even a better word. It like resets the
Mm.
body, it resets the organs, it resets that natural already part of us detoxification system, and gives us that boost that we so very much need to help remove those unwanted toxins. So yeah, that's basically what the most like basic way to explain what a cleanse is.
And so when we do eliminate and we do a cleanse, like what are the benefits? Like what does the benefits, yeah, on our body
Oh
and our
gosh,
health?
everything,
Yeah.
everything. I always say that a every disease, right? Every dis dash ease, because it's not a disease, it's a dis-ease, is pretty much just either a deficiency or a toxicity. And you can even break it down some more and say that it's all a toxicity, because even when we see deficiencies in the body, that is really just a toxic that is
Mm.
pretty much stopping that whatever nutrient or vitamin your body's trying to take in. So if it's blocking it, or in other cases mimicking it, you're deficient in that. So the body doesn't produce it or use it. So basically, every deficiency you can say is also a toxicity. But if we do focus on just like the deficiency and toxicities, it's really just too little or too much of something. And when that happens, all the symptoms come up, right? The terrain, our body's terrain, is compromised. Think of it like the soil has been compromised. So, how are you
Yeah.
going to grow any plant? How are you going to allow any plant to thrive if the soil is compromised? So, if you have all these toxicities, your body's not going to function. So, every single symptom, which is really just your body's way of telling you that something's wrong, right? Every symptom we experience is really just the body saying, like, hey, pay attention over here. Things aren't
Yep.
really working out. So when we cleanse and when we remove these toxins, all of these symptoms will kind of recalibrate to do what they're supposed to do. All of the inflammation will go down. A lot of people want to do cleanses to lose weight, and that's why they kind of work to lose weight, even though that's
Yep.
not the goal of a cleanse, is because all that inflammation goes down, all that water retention goes down. The fats is where we store the toxins. So when the body's too much accumulated, the fat is where the toxic waste gets stored. So when we do detox, the fat can finally be released. So um, a lot of our diseases or problems in society can be fixed with a cleanse, and that's usually where I start with clients, is to start on a gentle cleanse to see what it is that their body requires or is deficient or toxic in, so that we can help them feel better.
Yeah, you put that so well. I love how you mentioned too, like where the toxins are stored, because that's
Yeah.
what a lot of people struggle with when they're trying to lose weight. They don't
Yep.
understand why the weight isn't shifting. But like, let's
Mm-hmm.
look at your lifestyle, the environmental toxins that are around you, what you're ingesting in your body, and it's just staying in your fat stores. So I
Yeah.
love how you just explained that all. So let's get into, because I know you mentioned that when you work with your clients, you put them on a gentle cleanse to start off with. What are the different types of cleanses that people can take part in? Can you give us just a couple of examples?
Of course, yeah. So there's various types of cleanses, from different tools you can use to different things you want to target. So there's, there's parasite cleansing, there's a heavy metal cleansing or mold cleansing, and then there's like an Ayurvedic cleansing or functional medicine cleansing. There's you can do like Epsom salt flushes or um, fasts. Fast is a type of cleansing, right? A dry fast or a water fast or juice fast, or there's so many different kinds. And I don't want people to get confused with like those fads or like those what do they call, like the skinny tea, like drink this
Yeah.
tea and it's a cleanse.
Detox
That is
teas.
not what I'm, yeah, right. I'm not talking about those. Even though some of those herbs are things that we do use, that is not all that goes into cleansing, right? It's a whole process, it's a whole protocol. And some protocols are much more strict than others. Again, like I said, when I start a client, I usually go very gentle. I prepare them at least a week before to get into a cleanse so their bodies are ready to do it. You have to make sure that you're not wasting your time doing a specific cleanse. You also want to make sure that, say you're doing like a parasite cleanse, that you're also going to prepare yourself to later do a heavy metal cleanse or vice versa, because the two go very much hand in hand. So there are very different types of cleanses you can do, but I always say, if you're just starting and if you're just getting onto this and understanding detoxing and cleansing, start very gentle. Prepare the body. Start with eliminating the inflammatory foods. So eliminate things like, the sugars, processed food, all the processed food. Eliminate the processed sugars. Eliminate the glutens, the dairies, some meats. Just kind of preparing the body to get everything out. So when it comes to starting a gentle cleanse, or any cleanse really, but especially if you're just starting, you want to open the drainage pathway. So we have like these detoxing organs, like I spoke in the beginning, and you want to make sure that they're open. You want to make sure that they're doing their job. So you start with the colon and then you go all the way up to the lungs. So in the colon, you want to make sure that they're having bowel movements, that things are moving down there, right? That things are actually getting in and out. So we usually have a lot of accumulated stuff in our gut and we got to like push it out. So I definitely start there. I start with the colon, making sure that people's bowels are coming and going and things are flowing. And then you go into the liver and the kidneys, making sure that the liver is supported, most importantly. The liver is probably the most important organ when it comes to cleansing and detoxing, because that is our biggest filter, right? So if that is bombarded and it's not supported and it's got too much work, it's going to act up and it's going to push what's going on to the other organs and then to the glands and so on and so forth. So you definitely want to support the liver as much as possible with things like milk thistle or dandelion root, or antioxidants and cruciferous vegetables, and of course some protein and amino acids to help it do the processes it needs to do. And then you want to focus on things like kidney and spleen, and then eventually work your way to the lymph system. The lymph system is a huge one that people sometimes forget.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very important system that you need to focus on when cleansing, because it's going to move things around. It's going to eliminate the toxins too. So you want to make sure that you're getting that lymphatic boost, and then focus on the blood, and then move your way up to the lungs. So cleansing is like a whole system. It takes, I
Yeah.
always recommend um, finding somebody who's a professional who knows what they're doing. I started this on my own. In the beginning, screwed up my body more than helped
Yep.
it, because I was like, oh, this is amazing. I can just, like, one of the first cleanses I did was a hardcore cleanse. And I should have definitely, learned more about it than just
Yeah.
watching a YouTube video of somebody who did it. And I was like, cool, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
And then, I ended up being in bed, having all kinds of
Wow.
symptoms from like it's normal, you have cleansing symptoms because the body is eliminating,
Yes.
but it was just so bad that, I ended up being more deficient. I didn't take care of any deficiencies as I was doing it. So it's a whole thing. But
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
yeah, bottom line, when it comes to cleanses, it's just making sure that you go with the one that you know is right for your body, and that is always done with the help of a professional.
Yeah.
You can get like you can do a gut test with your doctor, or you could do a hormone test, or um, what else? You can check for deficiencies, but all of that is going to guide you to the proper cleanse that you need, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to be what's right for you.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that because as you were talking, I've done my fair share of cleanses, back in my early 20s, and I looked at it the wrong way. Like I looked at it for weight loss, not for like a reset, like you
Yeah,
explained. I didn't even think about anything you explained because, hey, a cleanse. If I was going to lose weight, then why not? But I created more damage than good, like you
yeah,
just said, and if I was guided by a health professional from the start, I think, yeah, it would have just been so much more easier. And also finding a cleanse that works for my body too.
hmm
I'm still not there yet. Have you found a cleanse that works for your body that you do regularly
yeah.
or?
Well, that's another thing too. I was gonna say, when it comes to cleanses, I would suggest you start gently, right, and then work your way up until you kind of feel like you found something that can work regularly. Because cleanses should be done with every change of season. So
Mm,
it's more gentle and more mild in like the colder months, but in like, you know, especially from winter to spring, that should be a big deep cleanse. Just like we deep clean our home and do like
yep.
that spring cleaning, we should be doing that to our bodies, right? We should be taking care of our bodies in that sense. So that's something that I always tell people too is, when you have that cleanse that you know is good for your body, that, or even if you're just working your way up to cleanses, do them seasonally. Do it every change of season. So when you see that change of season coming, start planning, start preparing your body for a gentle cleanse and work your way towards that. And then again, once that you found that cleanse that works for you, that you know that your body will eliminate what it needs to, then just continue annually as you do it.
Yeah, oh, such a great point. So glad that we touched on that too. Just because I know a lot of people just want to do a cleanse or a detox
Just one.
for,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to add or share that you missed out on?
Hmm, good question. Oh, binders. I forgot to talk about
Oh,
binders.
yes. Yes.
So when you're cleansing, also, especially if it's a targeted cleanse, you do want to focus on binders, because binders are literally that they bind onto the toxins and like pull them out. So a lot of the binders that I personally love, that I use daily, even with my kids, are things like chlorella, spirulina, and then herbs like, again, milk thistle, dandelion tea, red raspberry leaf, all of these, very gentle. They're not harmful. And things like spirulina too also has a lot of nutrients and vitamins. So that's actually really good for you to take. So it's like got that like double bonus. Not only will it cleanse you, it will replenish everything too. So when you focus on binders, just try to find ones that really work for you. Again, it all comes down to that, because there are certain binders that people cannot take. Like I know a lot of people who I've tried to offer diatomaceous earth, which is pretty much like a more like a 10 times what bentonite clay will do.
Oh,
So
wow.
diatomaceous, yeah, it scrapes the intestines. So like bentonite clay does it ever so gently, and like
Yeah.
diatomaceous, and some people just cannot handle that. They have
Yeah. I can't
reactions.
handle the
So
clay. Yeah. I can't do
yeah,
clay.
it's very like you have to find what works for you. So, and then sometimes I'll even just take it here and there. Like I'll take like I'll do a parasite cleanse for so long, and then I'll stop when that cleanse ends. But then if I eat something that might have parasites in it, I will go ahead and take some of the herbs for that, which will bind onto any toxins and remove that. So it's really, it's about also having that daily understanding that you can cleanse things out of your environment on the regular, and
Yeah.
you can cleanse things out of your body on the regular. So you can also add binders in that way, not just when you're actually doing a cleanse.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this episode's been so amazing. I've learned so much, even though I follow you and you talk about
That's
this
so good.
quite a lot.
Yes,
Well, I love to end the show with a question.
of course.
So, what's one thing that someone can do today just to start that process of eliminating toxins in their environment?
Oh, yes, such a big one. So I think the main one, and this would really also just help you get to the root of your whatever issue you're having, is to get back out in nature.
Mm.
So when we step back out in nature, like I'm out right now because of that, because like the environment inside was getting toxic, it was getting stressful, and it was not just the toxins that we talked about, but also the toxins that are more of the emotional, you
Yeah.
know, the traumas, the triggers, that the other things, which is a little bit more of a deeper detox. With my clients, I do the physical detoxing, and then we do the emotional detoxing too, but that's a whole other pod.
Yeah,
So
100%.
right, we can go deep into that.
Yep.
So I think that being out in nature, you get, that fresh air, you get re-energized. The sun, the ground, all of it can bring you back to a parasympathetic state, and that right there is a detoxification state. So that is enough to just readjust the body. So just
Yep.
get back out in nature.
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Tatiana. And guys, you need to follow Tatiana on Instagram. Her content, the value that she shares is amazing. And if
Thank
you
you.
would love to be guided by a health professional to, know, go on a go on a cleanse, I definitely recommend Tatiana to help you with that too. So, thank you so much again for joining me. Yeah, I'm sure my audience has received so much value because I know I have taken notes and I'm definitely rewatching this again. Yeah, so thanks again.
Oh, thank you so much, Carmel. I truly appreciate it. I'm so happy you called me on.